The Soviet Union was known for its aggressive and ambitious military programs during the Cold War, and one of the most unusual examples of this was the development of the Soviet aircraft cruiser. These massive warships were designed to serve as a floating air base capable of carrying a large number of fighter jets and providing support for amphibious operations. In today's video, we will be showing you the insanely armed, briefly feared, abandoned Soviet aircraft cruisers. Without further ado, let's begin. Despite their formidable firepower and impressive engineering, however, the Soviet aircraft cruisers proved to be short-lived and ultimately abandoned, leaving behind a legacy of technological innovation and geopolitical intrigue. The first Soviet aircraft cruiser, the Moskva, was commissioned in 1967 and represented a significant leap forward in Soviet naval technology. The ship was over 200 meters long and carried up to 12 fighter jets, along with an array of anti-aircraft guns, missile launchers, and other weapon systems. The Moskva was followed by several other aircraft cruisers, including the Kiev and the Minsk, which were even larger and more heavily armed. These ships were designed to project Soviet power far beyond its borders, and they quickly became a source of fear and concern for Western military planners. However, Soviet aircraft cruisers were plagued by a number of technical and logistical challenges. The ships were difficult to maintain and operate, and the fighters they carried were often outdated and poorly maintained. Moreover, the Soviet Union's economic struggles and political instability during the 1980s made it increasingly difficult to justify the enormous expense of maintaining and operating aircraft cruisers. As a result, the ships were gradually phased out of service and ultimately abandoned. Today, Soviet aircraft cruisers are remembered as a bizarre and fascinating chapter in naval history. Despite their limited impact on global affairs, the ships represent a remarkable achievement in engineering and military technology. The aircraft cruisers were designed to serve as a mobile platform for projecting Soviet power, and they were heavily armed with an array of missiles, guns, and other weapon systems. The ships also featured innovative engineering solutions, including a unique flight deck that could accommodate a large number of fighter jets and other aircrafts. Despite their impressive engineering and firepower, however, the Soviet aircraft cruisers were ultimately overshadowed by changing geopolitical circumstances and shifting military priorities. The ships were expensive to operate and maintain, and they struggled to keep up with technological advances in the West. Today, the abandoned Soviet Union aircraft cruisers serve as a haunting reminder of the dangers and excesses of the Cold War era. As visitors explore the rusting hulks of these once mighty warships, they are confronted with the stark reality of the human cost of military conflict and the need for ongoing dialogue and cooperation in order to build a more peaceful and just world. In addition to their impressive engineering and military technology, the Soviet aircraft cruisers also represent a unique chapter in the history of naval aviation. The ships were designed to carry a large number of fighter jets and other aircrafts, and they were equipped with a variety of innovative technologies and systems to support their air operations. The flight deck of the Soviet aircraft cruisers was a marvel of engineering, featuring a complex system of elevators, aircraft lifts, and catapults to launch and recover fighter jets. The ships also had an array of support systems, including a large hangar deck for aircraft storage and maintenance, as well as fuel and ammunition storage facilities. Despite their impressive capabilities, however, the Soviet aircraft cruisers were plagued by a number of technical challenges and operational difficulties. The ships were large and cumbersome, making them difficult to maneuver and vulnerable to attack. The fighters they carried were often outdated and poorly maintained, and the ships struggled to keep up with advances in aviation technology. In addition to these technical challenges, the Soviet aircraft cruisers were also subject to political and economic pressure. The Soviet Union's economic struggles during the 1980s made it increasingly difficult to justify the expense of maintaining and operating the ships, and changing geopolitical circumstances made them less relevant to Soviet military strategy. As a result, the the Soviet aircraft cruisers were gradually phased out of service and ultimately abandoned. Today, the rusting hulks of these once mighty warships serve as a haunting reminder of the dangers and excesses of the Cold War era and a testament to the remarkable achievements of Soviet engineering and military technology. Despite their ultimately limited impact on global affairs, the Soviet aircraft cruisers continue to capture the imagination and fascination of naval historians, military enthusiasts, and curious visitors. As symbols of Soviet ambition and technological innovation, these abandoned warships serve as a reminder of the complexity and unpredictability of global politics and the need for ongoing dialogue and cooperation in order to build a more peaceful and just world. One of the most interesting aspects of the Soviet aircraft cruisers is the way in which they were used to project Soviet power beyond the traditional boundaries of land and sea. By providing a mobile airbase that could be deployed anywhere in the world, the Soviet Union sought to challenge Western military dominance and expand its sphere of influence. The Soviet aircraft cruisers were also seen as a response to the United States aircraft carrier fleet, which had long been a cornerstone of American military strategy. By developing their own aircraft cruisers, the Soviets hoped to level the playing field by creating a more balanced global military landscape. However, despite the impressive capabilities of the Soviet aircraft cruisers, they were ultimately unable to keep pace with the rapid changes in military technology and strategy that characterized the final years of the Cold War. The ships were expensive to operate and maintain, and they struggled to adapt to new threats such as anti-ship missiles and advanced submarine technology. Furthermore, the Soviet Union's economic troubles and political instability during the 1980s made it increasingly difficult to justify the expense of maintaining and operating such massive and complex warships. As a result, the Soviet aircraft cruisers were gradually phased out of service and ultimately abandoned. Today, the abandoned Soviet aircraft cruisers are a testament to the ambition and technological innovation of the Soviet military, as well as a reminder of the complexities and dangers of the Cold War. As visitors explore the rusting hulks of these once mighty warships, they are confronted with the stark reality of the human cost of military conflict and the need for ongoing dialogue and cooperation in order to build a more peaceful and just world. While the Soviet aircraft cruisers may no longer serve a practical military purpose, they continue to capture the imagination and fascination of naval historians, military enthusiasts, and curious visitors from around the world. As symbols of Soviet ambition and technological innovation, these abandoned warships serve as a reminder of the enduring legacy of the Cold War and the ongoing challenges of global security and diplomacy. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section below. For more interesting content, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.